We are joined by Congressman Byron Donalds now from the fantastic state of Florida, which, Congressman, appreciate you being with us. My understanding, our understanding, everybody's, is that you have your eye on the governor's position going forward. And I just want to know what brought you to this and what would you do? Because I love this Florida. Tell me the amazing things you plan to do as governor for this great state of Florida.
Well, first of all, it's great to be with you guys. Yep, I'm running for governor of Florida. I announced last night. And, look, for me, I came to the state at 17. I got off a Greyhound bus in Tallahassee, Florida to go to college. I had a trunk full of clothes, and that was about it. And I was able to build a family, a career in finance, not even dealing with politics. It was before politics, and build a career in this state. And it's been wonderful to me, and I want to make sure that it continues to be the best state in the country, bar none. We've had great leadership by Ron DeSantis, and there's been so much work that's been done to move Florida from a blue state to a purple state to now a red state. And my mission is just to keep it going and make it better than it's ever been.
Byron, we're going to get into the governor race and all those things, but I said in the first hour that I had to ask you the most important question in the mind of many people in Florida. What in the world happened to your Florida State Seminoles? One of the last times you were on with us, you were arguing that you should have been in the playoff. Now, are you guys even going to be able to beat anybody in the ACC this coming year?
You know what? That's a low blow. You weren't even supposed to do that. But that's all right. Listen, Florida State, it was a tough year last year, but we'll be back. But I still stand by what I said the year before. We should have been in the playoffs because we had a fantastic season. But last year, things didn't work out. So, we're going to retool and we're going to rebuild, and we'll be back. Don't even worry about it. One thing you got to know about the Florida State Seminoles, we're unconquered. We're going to make sure we return. We're going to be back better.
I don't know if you know this, Byron, but Buck's wife is a Florida Gator grad. Buck has never been to an FSU UF game, and it's one of the great rivalries in all of college football. What should he know about that in-state Florida rivalry and how bitter and frankly fantastic it has been for football fans over the years?
Listen, it's one of the best rivalries in football. It's intense. Make sure you go, and then when you go, make sure you go. It doesn't even matter if you're in Doak Campbell or you're in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. It's always a great time. The teams come out and play hard. The records don't even matter in these games. It's smash mouth football. It is a great time, and it's the same type of rivalry like Michigan and Ohio State, like Alabama and Auburn. It's just a great time, great feeling, great event. Somebody wins, somebody loses. Florida State's won a lot of them, but so has the University of Florida. But look, make sure you get out there and watch that game. It's phenomenal. I try not to miss it.
Speaking of Congressman Byron Donalds, he is running for the next opening in the governor's mansion here in Florida. But Congressman, I want to broaden it out nationally here for a second, if I could. You and President Trump have a great relationship, and obviously he has already come forward with a full-throated endorsement of you for governor of Florida. What are you thinking right now about how it's all going? As you're seeing Trump and Doge with Elon acting on behalf of the president, shaking up the system, the media in retreat. I wanted to get your take on, is this all moving even faster than you anticipated? And how do you want to get in on the action and help?
It's actually moving faster than even I thought. But I will tell you that the team has been committed to having this be done. And it's different. It's one thing when you just have a chief executive who's mission-minded, but when you have a team around him that's also about the same mission, these are the results that you get. They've been moving at warp speed, and it's a great thing to see. And I think in terms of getting in on the action, that's just Congress doing its job. Last night, we were able to pass through a budget resolution to start moving the president's agenda through Congress. We've passed one, the bigger one. The Senate passed a smaller one. But we're going to start rocking and rolling in Congress to meet the moment and meet the urgency that the Trump administration has come back to Washington with. And it's been a great thing. Listen, I was listening to the Breakfast Club. There was a clip of the Breakfast Club the other day from somebody who's a federal employee, and she was saying, like, she doesn't even understand why people are complaining about how you have to, like, send out an email talking about what you did. And if you couldn't put that email out, then, what are you doing? You might need to go find another job. And that's on the Breakfast Club. I mean, they're not known to be a bastion of conservatism and America First policy, but that's what the American people are looking for. It's time to be efficient. It's time to just get the job done. And if you're just going to be an impediment to that, you got to get out the way. It's about the American people, first, second, and third. It's not about special interests. It's not about a bloated federal bureaucracy that just gets to continue operating regardless of elections, regardless of what are the needs of the American people.
I know, Byron, you have a huge amount of support already in Florida. And as you mentioned, Florida's a red state now. The Republican nominee is going to be the governor. I think that's going to be you. Do you expect very many other people to get in the race? What do you think this Republican primary is going to look like going forward?
Honestly, I really don't know. We'll see. I mean, look, my focus is just run the best race I can, work hard, get to every part of our state, talk to the people, and earn their support. And, whether it's 2 people, 3 people, 10 people, I think we'll be successful. Really, I'm honored to have the president's support. We're building support all over the state from people that I served with my time in Tallahassee, people that I've worked with in my time in Congress. And it's really a humbling feeling to know that so many people support you and have your back. But we're just going to take this campaign to the people. It's about seeing people in their communities, addressing their concerns and earning their support. And look, I have the biggest endorsement in politics with President Trump, but I want to go earn the endorsement from every Floridian because, for our state to continue on the trajectory we're going, everybody's got to be a part of it. It's going to be a total team effort.
You got the endorsement of Trump. Again, in my opinion, you're going to be the nominee. And I don't want to, spike the football before we get too early, but appreciate you announcing. Do you think that Governor Ron DeSantis will endorse? How do you think that he will play it out? He's term limited out for people out there who may not know. So he cannot run again. 2026, there's going to be a new governor regardless. Are you going to seek his endorsement? What do you think he'll do with the race?
I mean, I would love to earn it. And I think honestly, back in 2018, when Governor DeSantis, then candidate DeSantis had won the primary and the radical left tried to go at him because, of a phrase he used about referring to his opponent, I went and did media and stood in the gap for him because I believed he was going to be a great governor. And I was proven right. He has been a great governor. I was there to help him win in 2018, campaign for him, have always supported him. And I think at the end of the day, I just want to be able to pick his brain, learn from him. That being the chief executive is not easy. And so there's a lot of advice he has. I want to be able to lean on that. And so I would love to be able to earn his support. And I think there'll be a time for that. We'll see how that goes. But in terms of how the rest of the race unfolds, too soon to tell. I'm just going to focus on my business and really go see the people of Florida and earn their support.
What do you think about the recent move from the governor's office, Congressman Donalds, to get rid of property taxes here in the state of Florida? I mean, that's something that it sounds too good to be true, but he seems serious about it. If he's not able to get that done before the end of his term, is that something you would look at? I mean, we already think of Florida as a low tax state, but which is great. But I think other states also look at this and say, well, hold on a second. Are there other efficiencies, other things that we can do to make this an even more, not just attractive climate for businesses, but for individuals who don't want to feel like they have to rent their house from the state every year, which is really what property taxes end up being?
No, that's 100% correct. I think, even when Governor DeSantis was in Congress, this is something I believe he was advocating for. And so I think he's serious about it. If they're successful in Tallahassee, I would love for them to be able to do that. And it's something I definitely want to look at. I think it's important for people to understand there are a lot of nuances when you get rid of property taxes. So I'm not trying to hedge. I'm trying to make sure people understand all the ramifications associated with it. But I would be in support of getting rid of property taxes in our state. There are other ways to raise revenue for local local government so they can provide for police, for fire, for roadways, and for capital improvements and building schools. There's ways to do that. I think this is a golden opportunity, not just in Florida's history, but in the country's history, to really examine new ways of doing business that are far more efficient, far more responsive to the needs and to the will of the people. And just as a quick pushback for people who would say, oh, well, getting rid of property taxes only favors people who have means or who are wealthy. Let's be perfectly honest. Let's be intellectually honest. If you rent property in Florida, you are paying property taxes. Because if you rent property from somebody else, you're paying, in part, the property taxes through your rent. So it affects everybody, whether you're a renter, whether you're an owner, rich or poor, everybody's affected. So if we're going to do this, let's look at it intellectually, honestly, and let's make sure we're doing the best thing for everybody in our state. So especially people who are poor, they have more access to be able to own a home or buy a home or whatever the case might be. But then from a government perspective, we are efficient in how we are levying taxes on our citizens, and that we have to be responsive with the dollars that we're taking from citizens to run government.
Byron Donalds, he's announced, congressman from South Florida, that he is going to be running for governor of the state of Florida. Last question for you here. I own property in Florida. I love it. 30A, beautiful place.
The Gulf of America, in fact, Congressman Donalds. He owns property on the Gulf of America.
I do. I own property on the Gulf of America. Buck is going to be voting in your race. He is a citizen of the state of Florida. What does it say? I want to go back to how you started it off, because I think it's super compelling. You came to Florida with nothing at 17 years old. Now you are, it's a great American success story, running to be the governor of the state of Florida. What does it say about the opportunity that the Sunshine State offers your career path and the life trajectory that you have had?
We're a meritocracy. That's what Florida is. Florida is a meritocracy. If you work hard enough, if you grind, and look, nothing's perfect. There's pitfalls everywhere. That's just life. But if you work hard and you grind and you constantly are looking forward to the next successes, things can really happen for you in our state. And I look, our current governor, he grew up poor. I think it was Dunedin is where he grew up. He grew up poor. And look what he's done for himself in his life. It has been a phenomenal life for him. Governor Scott, you single-parent household like me, grew up poor, and look at what he's been able to do in his life. And so I think that when you peel back the layers of the last two men, the current man to lead our state, Governor Scott before him, potentially me, I think what it demonstrates is in our state, anything and everything is possible. It's hard work, it's determination, it's having your family and good people around you. And as long as you could try to put those things together and just walk through the pitfalls that come in everybody's life, success is really around the corner. So, if that's what it means as being the state's next governor, that's really a symbol of what's possible, so be it. But it's really about everybody in our state just chasing that dream, and Florida being the land of freedom and opportunity for everybody in the Sunshine State.
Congressman Byron Donalds, and hopefully the next governor of my beautiful state of Florida. Congressman, appreciate you, sir. We'll talk to you more as the race continues on there, and we really thank you for making the time.
Listen, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. You guys take it easy.
We're always learning on this show. It's one of the great things about doing this job is Clay and I have to be learning all the time. And if we learn interesting, worthwhile things, we get to share it with so many of you. It's one of the great joys of this. But when there's an opportunity to learn stuff that is so important in the moment and so easy and enjoyable, you don't want to pass it up. Hillsdale College's professors have pulled together courses that will let you learn so much really interesting stuff. They've been creating and producing online video courses on different subjects for a long time now. And every one of them presents a learning experience for you and for us. There are no tests to take, no schedules to follow. You can watch each episode and every series on your own timeline on demand, and it's all free of charge. There are nearly 40 courses in all, including the most watched one, probably one we should all watch if we haven't, right? Constitution 101. That's something very important. Learning about our Constitution again will remind you of just how forward-thinking our forefathers were and how important our freedoms of expression are. And also, you'll know more than your lunatic lib neighbors who are like, the Constitution, who know nothing about it. So check out what Hillsdale College has for you. You study the Constitution with their help, and you'll be squared away. Go online to Clay and Buck for Hillsdale.com. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. That's Clay and Buck for Hillsdale.com to register. One more time, Clay and Buck for Hillsdale.com.